Time. Hello, my name is Jhosseline. I want to show you the future of what a specialty coffee could look like in the next few years. Today, I brought two coffees to talk about sustainability, adaptation, and consistency in each one of the categories, the impact they have on my coffee flavors, and the importance they have for me, thinking about the future of this industry. Climate change is reducing the amount of suitable farmland for coffee plants all over the world, and for specialty coffee to be viable in the future. This is vital. You can refer to the information card you have in front of you in case you want more information. I will prepare the espressos for my signature drink. What better way to start talking about sustainability than with one of the coffees I brought? It's a Geisha coffee with a washed process, cultivated at 1,650 meters above sea level, in Finca Timbuyacu, in Amazonas, Peru, by the Tejada family. To fight Geisha's susceptibility to rust and avoid the deforestation of the high sun from the finca's response to climate change, the Tejada family should adapt and change their cultivation techniques. By focusing on the soil, using compost and a bacterial strain with a laxi culture to break down the vegetal matter and transforming into organic matter, results in soil full of nutrients like potassium, nitrogen, and phosphorus. The result is then molded and compacted into pellets. These pellets are placed in the ground around the coffee trees, allowing the root hairs to absorb the necessary nutrients to keep the foliage healthy, thereby increasing the plant's resistance to rust and other illnesses. This coffee was then fermenting for 45 hours in airtight fermentation tanks. In the absence of oxygen, carbon dioxide and heat are created. The yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and the bacteria Lactobacillus use the carbon dioxide to break down the sugar from the mucilage fiber in the development of lactic acidity, and giving it more body. Together, with a heat control in the fermentation, it enhances the fruity flavor of this coffee. And after having told you all this, I must tell you that this coffee is only 50% of the espressos that you will try today, as I will be creating a blend from two separately ground varieties. Now that I have extracted the 4 espressos for my signature drink, I will start mixing the honey in a 1-to-3 proportion with milk, which will also be used for the signature drink. Now that I have made those preparations, we can move on the espresso category. We'll begin by talking about our second coffee and the other 50% of this blend. To give you another great example of adaptation to climate change, I brought a coffee of the Wush Wush variety, naturally processed, cultivated at 1,800 meters above sea level, in Finca Monteverde in Tolima, Colombia, by the Gutierrez family. The Gutierrez family found the Wush Wush to be a rare and exotic variety, like me, fruity and very floral, but also a variety which adapts itself well to different climates and has enough tolerance to disease and drought. In comparison to other rare and exotic variety, this makes it into a sustainable variety that also has a great profile in the cup. Through many years of experimentation, the Gutierrez family stabilized the critical points of the process and found consistency in its protocols of fermentation, managing to replicate the sensory profile of the Wush Wush after each and every harvest. This consistency was achieved with a fermentation of 100 hours, using only the microorganisms, and fermenting in open tanks exposed to oxygen, due to the great fermentative capacity of this coffee. Looking for consistent and new flavors, I decided to use 11 grams of natural Wush Wush in the lower part of the basket, and 11 grams of washed Geisha in the upper part, at a brewing temperature of 95 degrees Celsius and a yield of 45 grads out. As the beginning, the water extracts the finest particles, highlighting the dry acidity of the geisha obtained for this fermentation without oxygen. After 11 seconds, the water begins a greater extraction of the particles of the whoosh whoosh. The whoosh whoosh, with its sweetness obtained for its fermentation with oxygen, decrease the dry acidity in the cup. And once mixed, better balance the bitterness obtained in the last second of the extraction, creating a delicious coffee. I am using room temperature cups to preserve the aromatic compounds in my coffee. Judges, please write down my tasting notes. The acidity, the sweetness, and the bitterness are all medium, contributing to a great balance in the cup. You will find golden berry, sweet tobacco, and pink grapefruit. You will have a middle way and silky texture. The finish is long-lasting and lingers on cacao nibs. Just assess the crema visually, but don't drink them yet. Please wait until I tell you to do so. I ask you, please, before you drink your espressos, stir the 10 times with a spoon to homogenize them. Then you can place your spoon in the small glass you have on the side and start your tasting experience. Go ahead, enjoy. Let's now continue with the milk beverage category. Just the with my Whoosh Whoosh Geisha blend, I am using a blend on 50% lactose-free cow's milk and 50% freeze-distilled whole cow's milk to create new flavors to complement the flavors of my espresso blend. The lactose-free milk containing a lactase enzyme which makes it sweeter, allowing me to highlight the flavors of the espresso blend, transforming its flavor for golden berry and cacao nibs into peach yogurt and salted caramel. And the freeze-distilled whole milk, which in 8% fat, providing no proteins to transform the silky texture of my espressos into a creamy texture for this beverage. Judges, in your milk beverage you will taste salted caramel, peach yogurt, and cheesecake. The texture will be creamy with an enveloping mouthfeel. In the past, the coffee buyers as the Gutierrez and the Tejada families about the best method of roasting and preparing the coffees, but they found it very difficult to answer these questions. They realized that they also needed to cultivate sustainability with the clients and began to adapt themselves to the buyers' needs. Thus, they became capes, roasters, and baristas. And they found that continuous feedback with the clients was the best way to improve their processes and coffees. Working with them, I learned from their experience without the roast and instructions to achieve a consistent flavor profile. For each beverage, I am using 22.5 grams of espresso and 60 grams of milk, weighing them at the scale at a temperature of 60 degrees Celsius. This improves the flavor consistency. I will help you find my tasty notes with more clarity. Enjoy. The Whoosh Whoosh had 2 minutes of roasting after the crack, with a development of 18%, which preserves all the flavor obtained in the fermentation. Enjoy. The Geisha had 2 minutes of roasting after the crack, with a development of 20%, which preserve highlighted the sweetness and body. Enjoy. After the fermentation in each of their stages, each coffee rests for 13 days, allowing for sufficient degassing, which helps obtain a clinical profile. Enjoy. While you enjoy your beverages, I will be preparing everything for my signature drink. We now come to our signature drink. I have these 2 sustainable coffees. So I was inspired to find ingredients that could be adapted to their processes and individual flavors of the coffees to create new and consistent flavors. With my 90 grams espresso already inside this siphon. My first ingredient will be a cold brew of puer tea, fermented with oxygen, the same as in the fermentation of natural Whoosh Whoosh from Finca Monteverde. To make this cold brew, use 1 part of puer tea with 15 parts of water. I left in an infusion for 10 hours at 5 degrees Celsius. The puer tea was one of the most interesting flavors that I found in my natural espresso, Whoosh Whoosh. The puer tea cold brew that I added transformed the golden berry notes of the espresso blend, creating a new tangerine and spearmint flavor. I will add 5 grams of this. My second ingredients are blueberries that have been lacto-fermented without oxygen. This is the same oxygen-free lactic fermentation from my Geisha Geisha from Finca Timbuyacu. I made this ingredient with 300 grams of blueberries and 6 grams sea salt. We shall place a cyan container, vacuum sealed, and let to ferment for 5 days at room temperature. Blueberry was one of the flavors that I stood out in my Geisha Geisha espresso. I choose to lacto-ferment the berries to decrease the sweetness and develop a more complex acidity, so that they transfer the golden berry notes of the espresso blend, creating a new flavor of kiwi. I will add 15 grams of this. My third ingredient is honey from Finca Timbuyacu. We know that to produce honey, we need bees, and the climate change has resulted in a lower production of nectar in the flowers. However, thanks to the work with the pellets on the Finca ground, they have the plants that are healthy and strong, and this allowed to bees that perform the cross-pollination, standardizing the ripening and size of the coffee cherries. I mixed the honey with a design milk blend that I use in the mild beverage category. This mixture was blended with a magnetic stirrer for 10 minutes to homogenize it. When added to my espresso blend, it enhanced the salty caramel flavor that was present in my milk beverage. Once combined with the flavor of the puer tea cold brew and the lacto-fermented blueberries, creates a dark chocolate mousse flavor. I will use 30 grams of this. Finally, with everything inside the siphon, which have been keeping our ingredients cold, I will be injected with nitrogen to transfer the silky texture of my espressos into a creamy texture. I am serving the drink at 17 degrees Celsius to ensure a better experience of the mixed flavor in my signature drink. When it becomes creamy, I will weigh this cup at 33 grams to have a greater consistency in the flavor and texture experience. Therefore, please drink your beverage immediately. Judges, please take note of the tasting profile. In my signature drink, you will taste kiwi, tangerine, spearmint, and dark chocolate mousse. Thank you. The texture will be creamy with the dark chocolate mousse finish. I made this blend with 2 wonderful coffees from great producers and friends from Peru and Colombia. This blend is also a metaphor for how we should adapt our work consistently is share for a better and sustainable future for our specialty coffee. Happy to have been here with you. Thank you so much. Time.